Hello, hello. How we doing? Early birds. Welcome. How's my sound? Good quality, good level? Sounds good. Okay, awesome sauce. I'm going to do my usual plug for my Twitter here. Try to remind folks to subscribe to that when they get the chance. Because yeah, in case you didn't know, my Twitter is where I announce, the topic that I'm planning on talking about for the upcoming stream. So if you're deciding whether or not you want to attend live or watch the VOD later, um, taking a look at my Twitter is probably the best place to see that. And occasionally I post other stuff too, like fun little projects or things like that. But don't worry, I won't spam your feed. Hey, Snarf, welcome. I hope you had a good day. Hope y'all can't hear my dishwasher running in the background. I have a let's call it a vintage kitchen, and so my appliances are very old, and so my dishwasher is extremely loud. It's a beast. Yeah, Twitch noise cancellation putting in the work. That's right, for sure. Hey, Boopy Fox, Caitlin. How dare I need dishes? Yeah. Luckily, I think it's just finishing up the rinse cycle, so it should quiet down here pretty soon. It'll be less distracting for me anyway, even if you can't hear it. When I got my first apartment, I had never really had a dishwasher before, and so I was washing my dishes by hand, even though I literally had a dishwasher in the apartment. And I was like, through some, misguided, sense of needing to build character by washing dishes by hand. And then I started using the dishwasher, and I was like, what? This is amazing. Um, Caitlin, if you want to sub with Prime, which would be amazing, should be a I think if you click the sub button, like the subscribe button, you can see if it gives you the option there. It may if you haven't connected your Amazon account to Twitch, you may need to do that. But oh, and speaking of subs, there are a couple folks who did subscribe while I was off stream, and so I want to make sure I thank them. You call the dryer the round closet? That's amazing. It is for me sometimes too. My washer and dryer are in my basement. I know in a lot of European countries, they're actually in the kitchen, but in the US, they are generally in the basement if you don't have the space upstairs. And so, yeah, sometimes things stay in my dryer for a very long time just because I don't want to have to go down to the basement to get them. All right, Aroni. Let's get it kicking off here. All right, here we go. Switching my screens. Hello, hello, hello. Feeling good today. I hope you are too. I've got my 100 devs swag here. Yeah, kicking it. The worst is when you forget clothes in the washer because it's in the basement. Yeah, I've absolutely done that, and then you come down like a day later to clothes that smell like mildew. So yeah, not fun. I've absolutely done that. Yeah, all right. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody had a good day. big day tomorrow, turning in the professional checklist and all that. I hope everybody's feeling okay about that. Um, and yeah, so I hope everybody's just having a good week so far. And we also, we had some pretty meaty topics that we covered last night in class as well. Oh goodness, under a tornado watch. Well, I hope everyone in your area stays safe. Yeah. Wow. Also just realized that the volume on my computer is like all the way up for some reason. Oh, that follow alert was loud. Okay, I've got it fixed now. Um, yeah, wow. I hope everybody in your area stays safe. Uh, you know why? I actually don't know C++. We're part of an agency that's learning JavaScript and web development. So there might be some folks in this chat that you could connect with that do know C++. I personally don't. I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and SQL. Unfortunately, not CSS. A little bit of Python. C00. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, yesterday in class we covered JavaScript classes, which are a little bit different than classes in other language, right? And we specifically focused on extending those classes. So you've created a class, and then you want to create another sort of object that might be similar to that original class. And then what you want to do is, so instead of just recreating the whole second class, you can just kind of extend the first class to supply components essentially for your new class. So, and a good example of that we went over in class was essentially like having a master class for dogs. So all dogs with just some very general sort of characteristics of dogs, um, and then extending that original class to specific breeds that have more breed specific characteristics, like Labradors or Bulldogs, which are still dogs but have very specific characteristics. And so that's kind of what we covered yesterday. And so we're going to just do a quick review of that. And then I thought we'd do a few exercises related to extending classes. Um, and they aren't homework. I feel like I need like a flashing graphic when we go over these exercises. They are not homework. You shouldn't, don't worry about it, turning it in or anything like that. We're just going to do them because I think they're interesting to help us keep conceptualizing those class extensions. So I do need to turn my closed captionings. Give me just 1 second. I can never remember to do that before we get started. 2 seconds. My apologies. We'll get that going. Stream, closed captioner, and starting captions now. All right. Captions should be available now if you need them. If you don't, you can always disable them. You're still turning it in. Well, I don't know. These exercises, they're actually in JS way, so it's very possible that Leon might still assign them. So you might be ahead of the game. You never know. That's always nice, right? Okay. All right. So let's just do a quick refresher on classes in general, and then what it means to extend a class and how we might do that. So these are literally the exercises that Leon went over in class yesterday here on my screen. So you can see up top here, we have a starter class of animal, and it has just some, very general, as it starts with a constructor, has a very general property of this dot name, with that underscore signifying as a general sort of distinction that it's private. That's not necessary. It's just sort of a naming convention. And then we have a method, or we have a getter to return this name. And then we have a proper method here, which console logs that name. So very simple class. And then underneath it, we actually have a class of dog. And we can see that the syntax here is class dog extends animal. And what that essentially that essentially tells our code is like, hey, we're creating a new class, but it's going to have its parent is now going to be, if you think about like inheritance, parent child, its parent is going to be the animal class. So if we run something and it's trying to look for a property that it can't find within dog, then it will look up the chain, up the inheritance chain, up to the animal class. And so that's the cool thing about this inheritance, is that it's turtles all the way down. I mean, you can just keep going up the chain, up that I'm gonna always pronounce this wrong, prototypal chain. I want to keep wanting to say prototypical, up that chain of inheritance, to and here by extending this class, we're essentially sort of controlling that family tree, right? We're adding a branch to that family tree. Hey, Born. There's no donuts, but we do have code, so I hope that's a reasonable substitute. Welcome. All right. Oh, hey, Lulu Jack. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hey, Scott, still have problems understanding prototype? That's fine. I feel like that's one of those things that's actually been hard for me as well. And so that's why I'm choosing to stream about it tonight, is just because, the more we talk about it, the more we work with it, the better understanding we'll have, right? So I stream about the things I don't fully understand, because that helps me learn them better. All right. You could code a donut in CSS? Yeah. So I actually, random aside, I actually saw somebody code like, they coded a full 3D spinning donut, like, in the command line. It was wild. Like, it was like doing like the DVD thing where it bounces around and it was spinning, like, with just ASCII characters in the command line. It was nuts. Yeah, it was great. Okay, so anyway, we can have a class of dog that uses animal as its parent, right? And inside of that, we have a constructor, just like before, except you'll notice we have one extra statement here that we may not have seen before. And that is this super. That's this super statement. And what that does is it essentially forces the parent constructor to run first before running the child constructor. And I'm not going to spend too much time on that right now, because we're going to see that in one of the exercises we're going to do. Kind of see that in action, what that's doing, and maybe why we need that. So essentially, we need the super statement to run the parent constructor, which then the child constructor is able to run based on the parent. And then we're also adding an additional characteristic here of breed. And then we have a getter here, return this breed, and then we have a speak method. And there's there's an additional statement here called super.speak. And what that's doing is it's essentially, allowing us to access the speak method from the parent, and bring it down here into the child, or use it in the child. And you can see that the syntax is a little bit different than when we use the super in the constructor. So just be aware of that instead of, super name, we're essentially saying super dot method, right? And then, just a console log there. And cat is pretty similar, same sort of format. Oh, hey, JM, welcome. Yeah. So, JM, if for anybody else here that's new, welcome. Um, this this and all my previous classes are available on as VODs on my Twitch channel, so recorded videos on my Twitch channel for 60 days. And well before they expire, I move them to YouTube. So they are preserved forever. So they'll never go away. You can find them easily on my Twitch channel for 60 days. After that, they are automatically deleted, but I do move them to YouTube before they expire. Yeah. Yeah, Scott. So whenever you super basically inherit a property or method from the parent, yeah. In the case of the constructor, that's actually required for if we are if we're extending a child from that parent, for it to work properly, we actually need the super statement in the constructor for it to work. And again, like I say, we'll see that in a minute. So let's test this out and let's see what we get. So we have a few declarations down here. So we have Simba, which is creating a new dog. We have Machi, which is creating another new dog. And we have Salem, which is creating a new cat. And so what it's doing here is essentially just looping through this array of those three animals, and it's calling the speak method. So essentially what that's doing is it's calling speak. But if you remember, we have a few different versions of speak here, right? And so when it calls speak, I wonder which one it'll hit, right? Is it going to hit the one for the cat or dog that this is for, or is it going to try to hit the one for the animal? Does anybody know what if I have multiple, if I have a parent and a child and they both have the same a method with the same name, which one will take precedence? Does anybody know? First it checks itself. Yeah, exactly. First it checks itself. Yep. Um, yeah, and that's right. So the chain works upward. It works upward from the child up the tree, from the child to the parent. Like I said, just say from, like, if you're thinking about a tree, like from the branch to the trunk. Yeah, from the branch to the trunk. So in that case, the child, it checks itself first. The child checks itself, see if that method exists, and if it doesn't, only then does it work upward toward the parent. Yeah. Yep. So it says, okay, do I have this method? Does it exist in me? If so, then great, we're gonna run it. If not, then it goes up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's why we're talking this out a little bit, just to help. This is hard to remember. This is hard stuff. So that's why we're talking it out a little bit first. There was some questions there in my for statement here. Yeah, this could be anything, for item of farm, for bacon of farm, um, who knows, for McDonald of farm, doesn't matter. Um, yeah, it's just using it as like a placeholder for you. Yeah. Um, so I'm gonna leave it as A, and then we'll change it. We'll run it. We'll see that it works. Then we'll change it, and we'll run it again just to prove that. But let's run it. Let's go ahead and run it as is. And I'm gonna run it here in VS Code with the code runner extension. Um, yeah. All right. So let's see what we get. So we got a couple results here. Yeah, it checks itself before it wrecks itself. Exactly. So the first thing we get is Simba makes a sound and then Simba barks. So let's look at these statements here. Um, so Simba, right, is a dog. He's Leon's dog, or she. I don't know the gender exactly. Doesn't matter. The dog is Leon's. And so Simba is a dog. And so if we look at the dog class, we can see that the speak method is calling super.speak and also console logging the name of the animal and barks. And so what we see happening here is it called the parent, which is name makes a sound. So Simba makes a sound and Simba barks. And so we can see what happened is that when we called a.speak against Simba, it essentially went straight to this method because it said, oh, hey, Simba is a dog. The dog has the speak method. I can run it. We're all good. Don't need to go up to the parent. The method is here. I've checked myself before I've wrecked myself, and the speak method exists within this class, so I can run it. Yeah, but since the super dot speak existed within that speak method, it was also able to access the speak method of the parent. So it's kind of cool. It's able to just sort of seamlessly travel up and down the chain as needed to get the information to essentially fulfill your request. Yeah. Now, does that make sense? Does this example, before we go into the exercises, I want to make sure nobody feels like they're left behind here. The exercises we're going to do are not crazy. We're not talking eloquent JavaScript here. I'm just talking like the basic concepts. We're just gonna practice a couple questions. Um, the extension is Code Runner. You can find it in a extension library over here. I will say you need to have node.js installed on your machine before you try to use this. Otherwise, you'll get an error. But since we're going to be installing Node for class anyway here very soon, I'm sure, then there's no harm in installing it now and getting a little bit of extra functionality within VS Code. So yeah, it's just nice to have, and especially when I'm streaming, so I don't have to switch back, between browser windows and that kind of thing. It just makes it a little faster. Yeah, Node is super easy to install. It's just plug and play. You just click through the Just click through. It opens PowerShell at one point, but that's the craziest thing that happens. Yeah. Yep. You need node, and I don't remember having to set a path variable or anything like that. But maybe I did, and I just don't even remember because it was so easy. Hey, Laylo, welcome. All right, so I'm not hearing any questions on this example specifically, but feel free to ask at any point. Don't ever feel like it's too late to ask about something or anything like that. I'm happy to take questions at any point. Y'all know me; I'm pretty flexible. So let's get to it then. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a look at a little bit of JS Way, and just a couple of the exercises in some of the JS Way, in one of the JS Way chapters on extending classes. So I'll get that pulled up. And again, I'll restate this. This is not homework. This is something I'm doing with you just because I think it's helpful. So this is not homework. You don't have to turn this in. You can if you want, but Leon might still assign it at some point. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to see what he's going to do next. No syllabus for us, right? All right. I'm getting it pulled up here. Alrighty. See if I can do, let's see. Say. And this one, yeah. Oh, come on. Ah. There. Ah. So annoying. Okay. There. All right. That's kind of small. I apologize. I hope you can still see it, maybe a little bit. But the heck is PowerShell? I'm not too familiar with PowerShell actually, but I mean, it's like, I know it's like a command line interface. I think it's more powerful than just the regular command line interface. You can do a lot more things in it, but I'm not too familiar. Other than running a few basic commands here and there, I'm not too familiar with it. Excuse me, I'm just getting my windows sorted out here. Okay. Here we go. All right, so let's look at this. So there's a couple exercises here, and I would actually, I'll give you the link as well. I would recommend reading this. It's helpful. It's helpful to get more takes on this, on what Leon's talking about with extending classes and what it means and how it works. And I've always found the JS Way to be a fairly accessible manuscript. I mean, it's fairly easy to read and follow, and it's got a lot of good examples. So I'll give you a link. There we go. And we're looking at the tasks section on that. So let's just go ahead and let's do a task, and let's kind of learn how to think, a little bit critically about, or learn how to look more closely at classes and extensions, and maybe troubleshoot them a little bit. JS Way best, eloquent JS worst. No comment. Hey in the rainbow, welcome. Okay, here we go. So task. So error creating an instance. So this first one, they have some code with rabbit extending an existing class of animal. Unfortunately, rabbit objects can't be created. What's wrong? Fix it. All right, let's copy the code over and we'll run it. We'll see what's going on. And then we'll see if we can spot the problem with it. Okay, so, and I'm also going to change this real quick to a console log because Code Runner doesn't understand errors, alerts. It doesn't know what to do with those. So we're going to change that to a console log, and then we'll try running it and see what we get. Oh boy, we got an error. Okay. What does it say? So it gives us an error at this.name equals name. Okay. It says must call superconstructor in derived class before accessing this or returning from derived constructor. Wow, now that's an error. I dig it. So let's look at that. Let's see what's happening and why might that be happening. Yeah, so up top here in animal, it's very simple, right? It just contains a constructor with this.name in it. And then we have a class of rabbit extending animal with another constructor, and then this.name equals name and another property of this.created. And we're trying to console log the rabbit's name. So let's see if we can figure out why it's not working. So it's, our error message here. What I always recommend is when you're trying to troubleshoot something, the first thing you do is run it. Even if you know it's wrong, even if you know it's going to bomb, just run it and see what errors you get back, because that's going to give you some guidance on where to look in your code for the problem, right? So it's telling us very clearly that this dot name equals name is not correct. All right. So, and it's telling us that we must call the super constructor in the derived class before accessing this or returning from derived constructor. So that gives us a clue. And I see a couple of folks have already pointed it out in the chat that we are missing something to do with super, right? Yeah, we're missing something to do with super. How do you learn coding concepts without squirrel analogies? How indeed. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what do I need to replace? So what do I need to do here in my constructor? What do I need to do to fix this? Got to use that super, yes. So, okay. So that's not getting my alignment right, but whatever. All right, so do I do super dot something, or what's my syntax here? Oop, can't even spell super right. Yeah, super name, right? Because the first thing we need to do is we need to call the parent constructor. It needs to run and give us the foundation for the child constructor to be able to run. If we're trying to run this without, if we're trying to run the child constructor without first running the parent, it literally, it has nothing to build off of. Yeah. And then the other thing we're going to do too is we're going to get rid of this property. We don't need it, right? Because it already exists within the parent. Yeah, super with yeah, you all got it. Exactly. And we don't need to say like, super name equals anything, because all we're doing there is we're just saying, all right, parent constructor, go run. And once that parent constructor runs, then that name property will be accessible by the child, because we're extending off of animals. So all those parent because of prototypal inheritance, the child can go up the chain and access the parent properties as well. So we'll see that here in a minute. We'll see that if we console log rabbit.name, it will be, even though that this .name doesn't strictly exist on rabbit, we'll still be able to access it. So let's clear the console and we'll do it. Hey, look at that, white rabbit, right? Yeah. So even though we don't strictly have anything, and again, we could call this anything we want. This is just a parameter, right? So we don't strictly have a this.name property on rabbit, but it can still go up that inheritance chain and access it on the parent and bring it down. All that code just to spit out right rabbit. I know, it's a very simplistic example for a very complicated concept, right? Can you use super on any parent property? I mean, you can use it on both constructors and methods. Yes. Yeah, you can use it on both constructors and on both constructors and methods within a class. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, rainbow. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you're essentially you're going up that inheritance chain. First thing it does is if you try to call a method, first thing it does is it checks itself to be like, hey, does this method exist within me, within the given class? Does it exist in there? If it doesn't, then it says, all right, fine, I don't have it. I don't have it, but maybe my parent does. And it goes up and it checks in there to see if that method exists up there, or that property or whatever. And then if that doesn't, then if it has a grandparent or whatever, it'll go up all the way up there, all the way up to the granddaddy, the uh, the master object prototype. And it'll check all those places to see if it can access that method or property anywhere in there, um, and bring it back down. So it's actually pretty cool. This inheritance stuff is wild. Like I say, still getting my head around it, but I think it's pretty neat. Yeah, and obviously, right? You could be way simpler about and just write console log white rabbit. Of course, totally. But like I said, this is a very simplistic example for practicing a pretty complicated concept. So rather than doing the eloquent JavaScript way of tossing you in face first into the pool, we're being a little chill about it. I'll go hardcore with eloquent JavaScript sometimes, but a lot of times I like to be chill. Yeah. What's the difference between the this.name under the rabbit class versus supername? So really, I got rid of the this.name just because we no longer need it because the parent has this.name. So it can access the parent just as easily. We don't need to repeat ourselves. Um, so by calling super, super is required. We can't run the child at all without calling that super. So that's necessary. And then we were able to get rid of this name because it already exists on the parent. Jessica Sarker, we tried running without super. Here, let's just do that again. Let's do it again. Let's see what it does. The first, so this example started out without super written in there at all. So let's see. Let's look at it. What error we get again. No, clear out the console. Okay. Oh, Nelly. Yeah. So reference error, have to call the super constructor in a derived class. So what is that saying? It's saying we must call super, we must run that super whatever in a derived class. And what in that case, what they mean by derived class is our extended class, because rabbit extends from animal. It's derived from animal. It's a child of animal. So you have to call super. There's no getting around it. You have to call super in order to run the parent constructor first, build that parent, and then the child is able to build off of it. So just like a tree, right? If you've got a branch coming off of a tree with like twigs and leaves on the end, you can't have the twigs and leaves be on the tree without the branch underneath it, right? So parent child, can't have the child without the parent. So that's why we have to call super. So and also too, did I say, what did I do? Oh, no, it's not working. I must have deleted something else. Ain't that the way? There we go. Now it works. Yeah. Had to save. I think I didn't save again. Yeah. I mean, you can have multiple layers of inheritance. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jessica, that's a reasonable assumption, right? Is you think, well, if I just do the extends, that should join them together, right? But no, it's once you do the extends, you're basically just kind of saying, I want to connect these two. I would like to, please. And then like those super keywords at the appropriate points, that's what's actually triggering the connections to run. Yeah. I mean, yeah, as far as overriding, you can have a long chain of inheritance, but remember that it works in reverse. So it always checks itself first, then it checks its parents, then it checks its grandparents. So if I had like three layers of inheritance, the parents would override the grandparents, and the children override the parents. So it's um you can think about it like a wrestling match, right? So let's say we've got like a, you know, like an older kid, right? They're in their prime. You've got the parents that are maybe middle aged, and you got, you know, the grandparents that are, you know, using a cane to walk around. If they got in a wrestling match, the kid would probably be the winner, and then, you know, followed by the parent, and then followed by the grandparent. I'm not speaking for anybody's parents or grandparents specifically, but just in general, you think about like strength, right? Like the child is stronger than the parent, and then the parent is stronger than the grandparent. Not in every case. I'm not making any generalizations here. Let's see. I'm just looking back through the chat here, making sure I'm answering folks. Uh, so Scott asks, what if the child doesn't use any of the parameters of the parent, or must it use one? Well, in that case, why are you extending it then? It may not be good if you're not wanting to reuse any of the parent parameters. It might not be a good choice to extend the class. You might just want to have it be two separate classes if they're completely different. Then you know it's all about those logistical decisions, right? Of when is it? Yeah, sure, you have all these options available to you to use. You have all this fancy stuff that you can do, but there's times when it's appropriate and times when not, right? So it's not always appropriate 100% of the time. Question: why do we add name parameter in the constructor if we're inheriting it? I mean, really, this as far as I think, this could be anything. So we could say like, let's see, let's try this because I'm not 100% sure. So let's try it. So it should be this is just a parameter that we're passing in, but who knows? Try it. Yeah. So you see, it still works, right? We could call it anything we want. That name, I wish that wasn't there because it is confusing. So really, we're just saying get all the stuff, get the stuff, and you know, with this super statement here, we're just saying get the parent stuff, get all the stuff that comes out of the parent constructor, and chunk it down there into the child, yeah, in the child constructor. Oh, Dakota. Okay, Dakota has some feelings they want to express through a poll. So they want me to do a poll to ban a particular word. Okay. I think unfortunately I think I do have to suggest like poll options. So Dakota, if you have some options you would like to suggest, um, then you're welcome to do so. All right. Hey, in the rainbow, thanks for the follow. Jenny, so Jenny asks, but it isn't connecting them kind of bad if you're building something, because if the code changes somewhere, isn't it more likely to break? No, it's actually less likely to break, right? Because everything flows up and down the chain kind of seamlessly. So I mean, okay, it depends on how you're thinking about it. But really what we're trying to do here is trying to make our code more robust. Because if you have a bunch of code that's like that, you have a bunch of just let's say separate functions, and all those functions are just interconnected through like calls or whatever, um, then if you change something in one of those functions because you don't know what the other functions are doing, then you're likely to break, you're more likely to break a long sequence. With inheritance, you have more robustness in the like that ancestry tree. So you know that if you make a change up top, it's going to flow seamlessly down through all the children. You won't have to worry about going and changing a single thing, like a single property, in all like in you know 16 classes or whatever. You'll just know that, hey, look, like, you know, 16 classes extend from this master class, so I can just change one property in my master class and it'll be corrected in all the children. I like to think about like this seems like would be a very good option for like doing an RPG. And I know there is one person on the 100 Devs Discord I know of that's actively building an RPG right now, and it's really cool. I've seen it, and I feel like this that you this would be great for them because they could have like a master class which is like, or a parent class which is like, defining the basic traits of all characters, right? All characters are going to have some HP, they're all going to have some experience points, they're all going to have, uh, I don't know, certain characteristics, certain base characteristics like clothing or hair. But then, you might have all sorts of different, you know, types like rogues or enemies or monsters, and those are going to have slightly, each of those are going to have slightly different characteristics. But by using these extending by using a class extension like this, you don't have to rebuild all those characteristics every single time. So I think it's rad. Oh, and actually, Dervis, yeah, absolutely said the exact same thing there. Coding, yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I didn't even read your message. We just came to the independent conclusion together there. Oh boy. Oh, okay. So there's a bit of an informal poll going on. I see it. All right. Yeah, beyond cat. Yeah, exactly. So if you had multiple properties in the parent, you don't have to add super for every single like property. You only do it once. It runs the parent constructor, grabs all the properties from the parent, and gets them ready for the child to use. So yeah, and that's this the way this was written originally was kind of confusing. I feel that. But that's the cool thing is that yeah, it's going to be like it's going to run the parent constructor, get all those properties ready for you, get him ready for use in the child. Okay, so multiple suggestions on the word ban. Sorry, I'm skimming down here through still here. Yeah, the super. So regardless of how many parameters are on the parent, um, from what I understand, the super it's basically just it's just that keyword, that parameter is essentially just grabbing all the parent parameters at once, or parent properties at once. Or maybe I'm wrong, but we can look at that here in a minute. Like I say, I'm still learning this. Okay, so it looks like so. All right, let's. I'll get the poll set up here. We'll do a formal poll just for so that people can have their say. 1 second. That's the weather. Okay. Get the poll going. Stream manager. Manage poll. Okay. So, new poll. What word should be banned? All right. And I'm gonna include super, um, class. I'm being real hard on myself here. I hope you're happy. Um, maybe that's being improved. What else? So I've got super. I've got class. What else? Give me other stuff. Oh, let's do parent and child. Parent, child. All right. I need one more. Somebody give me one more. Inherit. Oh, dang. All right. Okay. Poll is live. Should be anyway. If you want to vote, if you want to vote, click on the poll at the top of the chat. So you should see it at the top of your chat window. Just click there. We can't. No. I the is not an option. That was too much last time. I'm sorry. Can't handle that again. No way. Ban the child. Yeah. All right. Got still got about just over a minute left. It looks like. Could you make another class? Yeah, you can continue the chain. You can, you could have more subclasses there. So, all right, here we go. So let's, while we're waiting for the poll to finish up. So yeah, essentially we've answered the question, right? We figured out that it was missing the super keyword. And I do want to look and see up here, just going to follow this thread up here. So when we're pulling things down, super, there we go. Don't want to go deep under the hood. I just want the basic stuff. Poll's almost done. Got a few seconds left. I'm just reading up on super here to see if I was under the, okay. We have a tie. How the flip do we have a tie? How does that even work? For super and child? Oh my gosh. You're killing me. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we'll ban child, all right? We'll ban child. We'll ban child. Okay. Ban starts now and will end at 7:48. Okay? Well, yeah, because in this case, blah. So the reason blah isn't underlined is because it's just a parameter. Like any other function, you can have parameters that you pass in, right? And so, it's just it could be anything. So it doesn't need to be formally declared like let blah equal whatever. That's why I was thinking that I didn't need to have multiple parameters inside of my super call. Because it should be grabbing everything, but maybe I was wrong, so I do want to check that. Yeah, so a derived constructor must call super in order to execute its parent. Otherwise, the object for this won't be created and we'll get an error. Okay. Not clear, though, if I need to add additional parameters. Okay, Warzord. So if my animal constructor retired 2, then essentially I could still, those parameters could be called anything, right? So they could be blah and blah 2, but they would then grab the properties in order. Is that right? So whatever order they are in the parent, I'm assuming whatever order they are in the parent, they would be passed to the derived constructor. Yeah, the order is what matters. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that helps. Awesome. So, okay, I correct my earlier statement. So these could still be called whatever they want, whatever you want. Blah, blah 2, blah 3, blah 4. What it's going to do then is when you call super, it's going to grab the parent parameters in order. So if there's 5 of them, it would grab as many as you gave it parameters for. Kind of like when you do a function on an array. You could, it goes by like array index whatever, or sorry, item index array, and you can call the parameters whatever you want. So then it just grabs them in order. This has been the longest discussion on one problem ever. Yeah, that's kind of by design. We gotta understand this stuff. We gotta start thinking about it now. Otherwise, you just at this point in the class, I feel like if you don't start to get your head around this, you're gonna get left in the dust. So I really want you all to understand this. Or more succinctly, new code, what that? Indeed. Yeah, and this inheritance stuff is hard, right? This is hard. So that's why we're spending a little bit more time on it right now. All right, I got 2 more minutes left. I'm being real careful. I don't think I've said it yet. I said derived class at some point, I think. My shirt, best shirt. Yeah, I agree. This turned out really good. It actually, and I ran it through the wash today as well, and it held up really well. So I was glad about that. It didn't start coming apart in the wash, because sometimes these shirts will do that. What woman had that popular UK cooking show? Julie something. Yeah, I can only think of Julia Child, but I thought she was American. Dang it! You freaking got me. You're the worst. Oh, you guys are devious. I swear. I swear. First try, indeed. All right. All right. Claps. Claps. That was extremely good. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the second problem. Great discussion on this. Let's get a little bit more practice. And the second one's a little bit more, excuse me. I'm glad we got this discussion. I'm glad we spent a good time kind of hashing this first one out, because the second one actually is a little bit more involved. So I'm going to go down to the second question. Boop. And go to tasks. Question 2 is extended clock. So we've got a clock class. As of now, it prints the time every second. So we'll test that out. We'll kind of go through what's in here and what it's doing. Whoa, too far. No, stop. Okay, let's try that again. There. Okay. And what they want us to do is they want us to create a new class called extended clock that inherits from clock and adds the parameter of precision, which is the number of milliseconds between ticks. And it should be 1,000 or 1 second by default. So our clock by default should click every 1 second, but it should give the user the opportunity to make it tick less often, or make it print the time less often. Yeah. Y'all are wild now in chat. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then we'll take it. We won't be able to finish this one before break, but we'll take a break in about 10 minutes. So I imagine we'll get through what this is doing. We'll start to think about how to extend it, and then we'll take a 5-minute break. I got to feed my dogs. They're looking at me like I'm the worst owner in the world, even though it's still 10 minutes before dinner time. So, all right. So create a new class, extend clock, increase the distance between ticks, and also too, they specify here that they don't want us to modify the original class at all. It has to, everything that we're doing has to be done in the extension. We can't touch the original class. So this is kind of interesting, because we can't, everything has to be done in the child class. So I think we can manage it though. All right. So what is this doing? So we have a class of clock, right? And we have a constructor, and it takes in a template, and it assigns everything in that template. We can see it's actually passing in an object template here. It takes everything in that, and it assigns it to a template. And then it has a method called render. And what essentially all that's doing, you don't have to think about it too hard. All that's doing is it's getting the current hour, minute, and second, like in real life, like the current hour, minute, and second, wherever you are, it gets that, and it puts that into like an hour, like a clock format, like a digital clock format. And it console logs the output. So it's just literally just console logging a clock to the console. Nothing crazy. Then there's a stop method, which clears an interval. And then there's a start method which starts the clock printing. And what that does is it first calls the render. It first calls that render method to render the clock in the console, and then it sets a timer. So using set interval. So if you're not familiar with set interval, basically what that allows you to do is it allows you to perform a function of some kind at a set amount of time, like call that function over and over, essentially forever at a certain interval until you tell it to stop. So we did that for our snake game. If you were on my snake, if you've watched my snake stream, that's literally how we did the snake game, right? We called a set interval and we had it do an animation at a set interval, essentially forever. It just kept redrawing the snake as we moved it around the board. So that's what set interval can do for you. In this case, it's creating a clock and setting it at a certain. It's causing it to print the time at an interval of 1,000 milliseconds. So that interval that they talk about right here is hard coded. At this moment, it's hard coded to 1,000 milliseconds. And sorry, I'm scrolling back here. And they're just doing some formatting here. I'm sure there's better ways to format it, but that's not really like the point of this isn't about, it's not about the date object itself. It's about, so how do we now modify this existing class without touching this class at all? We need to extend it and modify it to make that hard-coded interval that's down here, to make that hard-coded interval modifiable by the user so that the user can instead pass in their own interval if they would like to. Okay, so that's what this does. We'll run it and we'll see how it works. Warzoid asks, can you overload or override methods in JavaScript? Yes, you can. Yep. Hint, spoiler alert. Oh yeah, Govintor. Yeah. I'll share the link here. And again, this is not homework. We are doing this to better understand. This is just me trying to help you and help me better understand inheritance and extending classes. This is homework for fun. This is extracurricular homework. Don't you love that? I just shared the link in chat. Yeah. And two, yeah, sorry, that somebody asked earlier about what is this doing up here? Why is this template in curly brackets? And that's, yeah, as Rascal mentioned, that's called object destructuring. And it can be very useful to know. And I'm going to show you an example of that here in a minute. It's not something that, don't worry about wrapping your brain around it specifically right now, but remember that word. And remember that you can do it for both objects and arrays. So we'll get to that in a sec. Fun learning is best learning. I'm glad somebody agrees. All right, let's run it. Save it first. And let's just see what happens. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Did I not copy the whole thing? Oh, I didn't call it. Okay, hang on. Also, too, this is the way this is written is really annoying because I have to copy this whole thing from inside of the sandbox. So sorry about the white screen all of a sudden. Hope I didn't blind you. Like clock. So all we're doing here is they just have a statement creating a new clock, setting the template, which is the display template, right? And then so you could put you could flip the seconds and minutes around if you wanted. And we call that method the start method. So that's all we're doing. We're creating a new clock, telling it what format we want our time in, and then we start the clock. All right, now we can do it. Yeah. All right, let's watch it just for a second. We're not going to watch it forever. The white light sears my paper thin vampire skin. That's how I feel sometimes too. I'm like a keyboard gremlin some days. I don't just in front of the beautiful white light of the screen. Yeah. So you see it running? Born, you see it running? Yeah, so it's literally printing once a second. It looks a little janky on the stream. I think it's not like, but on my screen, it prints at an even 1 second at it. 1 second at a time. It prints the new second. So it's just a clock. It's the weirdest clock you ever seen, right? So we'll stop it because since we used a set interval, I have to I could have called like the stop method at a certain point, but set interval will keep running until you stop it. Yeah, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. If you want a more exciting use of set interval, go watch my snake game VOD. We used it for a lot more of a fun purpose there. But again, that's not really the point of this. We're trying to say, all right, how do we customize that interval that we pass into set interval? So let's see, we still got a couple minutes before break. So let's get this started anyway. So all right. Okay, so if I want to create an extended class called extended clock, can anybody give me just the first line of how I would do that? How would I say I want to create a new class of extended clock that is going to take some characteristics from the parent class of clock? What's that first line? Exactly, yeah. We say class extended clock extends clock. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so the child is always going to be stated first, and then we say then extends, and then we say the name of the parent. So yeah, it's easy to get them twisted, right? But in this case, we're saying we're essentially extending out the class of clock into a child, and so we're saying that the thing doing that extension is the child, which is extended clock. Yeah, class exhibit extends clock. Yeah. Put a class in your class so you can class while you class. Yeah, exactly. All right, so inside of that, then we're gonna have a constructor, and essentially, what do we so what do we want to get from the parent, right? So let's look at the parent, and again, inside of the parent, really, there's only one property, right? There's one property called only one property called template, right? And so, as we previously discussed, since there's only one property we want to grab from the parent, we only really need one parameter that we're going to bring in. And we could call that whatever we want. We could call it template or whatever. I'm going to call it settings, but again, it could be whatever you want. It could be bacon or blah. It just says, all right, grab that first property from the parent and bring it down in here, please. And also, too, what keyword do we need to what keyword do we need to grab to initialize the parent constructor? Super. Yeah. Anybody ever played the game uh, that stop like kind of stop motion game Super Hot? That's a great game. It always makes me think of that whenever I say super. All right. We're initializing the parent constructor as well. IRL word ban. All right, fine. You know that it's 8 o'clock, right? So 5 minutes are going to be up. It's time for break. We'll finish the constructor, and then we're going on break, and then 5 minutes will be up. So I'm afraid that wasn't the best timing. All right. So we've initialized the parent constructor. We're grabbing we're getting everything that we need to initialize the child. All right. So, and also too, we're gonna need a new property that's gonna help us basically figure out the precision. Because that's the whole point of us creating this child class, right? Is to figure out a sort of precision that the user can adjust for our clock. So In this case, we're gonna have a new property called this.precision. I can't spell precision. Precision. There we go. And they also said, so by default, it should be 1,000. So by default, the precision should be 1,000, which is 1 millisecond. Or 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 second, not 1 millisecond. Okay, so by default, it should be 1,000. However, if they did pass in some, if there was a precision value passed in to the template, we want to essentially grab that and assign it to that property. Kilo, I can grab you the, here's a link for you. All right, so essentially what we need here is an if statement to help us determine whether or not the user has decided to pass in a precision parameter or a precision argument. Yeah. And how we can do that, there's a couple different ways we could do that. So the first way that we could do that, sorry, I'm trying to get my other way that I have, so both ways pulled up here. Okay, so the first way that we can do that is probably the way that makes more sense just intuitively, is that we're going to need to have an if statement to first checks to see whether or not a precision has been passed in from the template, and then if not, it just assigns it 1,000. All right, so if I want to check whether or not a precision property has been passed in on our template, how might I do that? If I want to, if we're creating basically a new object called, if I'm passing in something, if I'm passing in something called settings, which is a template with multiple properties, how might I check and see whether the precision property is populated or not within that object? This is a hard one. So we can see here what we're going to be passing in. What we pass into this is actually an object. You can see the brackets there. And it right now it just has one property of template. However, in the future, we're going to be adding an additional property called precision that we'll be passing in, and it's going to have some stuff associated with it. So how would I maybe check that? Oops, too far. I know this is a hard one. That's okay. That's all right. So we can check that by basically just saying, and it doesn't have to be super. It doesn't have to be super hard. And yeah, we don't even have to get that crazy. Y'all are coming up with some great suggestions here. But all we really need to do is just say settings dot precision the dog is hungry. I know. I'm sorry. We're almost done. We can just check it this way. So we just say, all right, if it's null, then assign 1,000, else settings precision. I think that'll work. Okay, let's pause it there for now. I know we got to do, and yeah, in fact, yes, so many different ways to do the same thing here. And I'll make this a little bigger so it's a little easier to see. There. So essentially, it's just a ternary operator. It's just a ternary operator. It's saying, hey, if there is nothing, if nothing's being passed in, then assign it to 1,000. Else, grab the value of that property. Hey, pink star. Okay, let's go on a break. I'm gonna pull up a timer. We'll come back to this. 5 minutes. All right. Go get a drink of water or whatever you need to do. And I saw somebody played hydrate. I actually don't have any tea with me right now. My giant mug is in the dishwasher, so it should be done though. I'm gonna make a cup of tea. All right. I'll see you back in 5. Alrighty, 1 minute warning. I will be back shortly. 1 minute warning ish. Well, down to about 39 seconds now. Actually, might have to give me a couple extra seconds. I am going to take this opportunity and also use the restroom. So Give me a couple extra seconds. Alrighty, and I am back. That was weird. The timer like stopped at 1 second. That was super weird. It wasn't. It was frozen. Was it frozen on you guys's on the stream? Because it wasn't frozen for me. So that was very odd. Alrighty, let's pick it back up. All right. So what were we doing? We were looking at our constructor for our extended class. We were looking at how to set the precision, our precision property, and for some reason it scrolled down. Okay. Don't want to get a copyright strike for humming theme song. They're ruthless, man. Okay. All right. So we're working on our constructor here. So I think we've got it all set. Now, really what we can do here is the parent class, if you remember, it has a render method, a stop method, and a start method, right? So it pretty much has everything we need to make a clock. However, if you recall, down here in the start method, when we set the interval, the tick value, right, the distance between console logs is hard coded here, unfortunately. So it's hard coded to 1,000. So we really can't modify it. It's not like anything that we can modify. So I think in this case, we can keep all these methods from that already exist on the parent, but I think we're going to have to make some modification to the start method in particular. Yeah. And there's some discussion here on APIs, and Jim is right. Yes, I've done multiple classes on APIs so far. So hopefully, if someone has a question on APIs, you can go back to those classes, kind of follow the steps through. I've done I've done one against a food API. I've done one against the Jeopardy API, and I've done one against a dog API. So at least 3 different APIs. I'm probably forgetting one. Done at least 3 different APIs with slightly different properties and that kind of thing. So hopefully that'll give you some assistance. You can go back, and those VODs are all still up on my Twitch. You can go ahead and watch those. Okay. Also, too, if you're having trouble with your code, if you're following along with my VODs and you're having trouble with the code, go to my GitHub. I have the code, the source code there. You're welcome to look at it. It's all open. I mean, these are all my own, like, these are all just fun projects, right? It's not, I don't share homework, like specifically homework, but I do share the projects the projects that we do for fun on stream, because I want you all to be able to see those and to be able to fork those or and do things with those. So you're welcome to just copy that code, compare it with your own. Yeah, my GitHub is Mayan Wolf, same as my Twitch name, same as my Twitter handle. I try to keep things consistent for you guys. Same as my Discord name. So just look me up on GitHub, Mayan Wolf, and you'll see my projects there. You're welcome to take a look. I also have a really cool Pokemon. I did a personal project that I didn't do on stream. I did a personal project with a Pokemon API, so check that as well. That was pretty fun. So yeah, welcome to dig in there. Just credit me if you do make something cool. Credit me on Twitter if you would. I'd like to see what y'all make. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So we're looking at, we can keep these existing methods in place, except we are going to have to make some edits to the start method, because right now having this hard-coded value is not going to work now. But we were explicitly told, right? We were explicitly told that that this start that we weren't allowed to essentially modify anything in the first class. That the problem literally said you're not allowed to modify the original class. So if I want to add a method here to essentially modify that start method, what should I do? If I essentially just want to make a new start method that handles additional parameters the way that we want, how would I do that? What is inheritance? Say what have we talked about previously regarding methods and inheritance? If I want to essentially make a start method that's going to kind of basically allow us to have some additional parameters, and I essentially just want to recode it. So what do we know about inheritance and methods? If I call a method on an object, what does it do first? If I call a method on an object, what does that method do first? Oh, hi, Verola. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Congrats on the stream team. Verola is the new member of the stream team, so follow them. It checks itself. Exactly. And so you might be like, okay, so what does that even mean? So I call a method, it checks itself. And only if it doesn't find itself there does it start moving up the inheritance chain. So if we want to make modifications to this start method, all I got to do is add a method called start. I don't got to do anything special because it will check itself first. Now, if I want to invoke properties from this other start method, then I can call the super dot whatever, right? Then I can call super dot start and get some stuff out of there. But in this case, I don't even really need to. I can just create a new method called start. It'll check itself first, see that there's a start method there, and run itself. Oh, Rick and Morty jokes. Nice. I do like Rick. I do like Rick and Morty. Yeah. Okay, so super easy. We can just say, all we need to do is just say, create a new start method. It's going to override the parent, so we don't need to worry about that. And we can just call, this. We can just call this dot render. This dot render, and we can create a new statement for the timer. So instead of giving it an interval of 1,000 milliseconds, we want to give it a flexible interval. So we want to just basically say, instead of 1,000, we just want to say this dot precision. So whatever's in that property, that'll be the interval. Okay. Let's see. I think that's all we need. So yeah, we're just passing. Let's see. We just got this dot render, so it'll call that. Oh, I realized what I did here. Call the render method. So this dot render and set the timer. All right, we'll make sure. All right, so now the last thing I need to do is actually call it, and we'll see if it works. I'm going to pass it a new interval, a higher interval, and then we will see if it will start. So what we're going to do is first we're going to create our new clock, and then we'll actually kick it off. All right, and I just got this from the sandbox that they use. So if you click on, so you don't have to write this all out yourself. If you click on Open Sandbox, you can get the how they're actually calling this and what they're passing in. So just click on that and you can just copy and paste it. All right. So first we build our clock, and then we actually start it. So then we call the start method. Start. All right, now let's see what we get. So we passed in 10,000 here. So we'd expect this to be, so the default interval is 1,000, right? If we pass in 10,000, we expect it to be much longer between ticks, but let's test it. Oh, hang on. I'm still calling the original one, my bad. Stop running. Okay, hang on. I got to comment out the first one. There. All right, rock and roll. Oh, unexpected. Oh, I think I'm missing a closing bracket somewhere. Don't you hate that? Yeah, hate the closing brackets. Okay, class extended clock. Oh, at the very end. Oh yeah, am I missing the, no? To close my class. And I think it's there. Let's see if it gives me the line where it's missing it. Oh wait, is it working now? Oh no, it's working now. Okay. I just must not have saved or something. Yeah, it's going. All right, so if you look down there at the very bottom, it's running. The clock is running, but it's running very slowly. Because essentially what we passed in, when we passed in that different interval, now it only ticks it. It still gives us the proper time, but it only writes it at 10-second intervals. Yeah. So it seems to be working as designed, right? This is boring, so I'm not going to make you watch it. But it is working, right? It is working. Oh, and here's my dog. Hello. He's won't stop leaving me alone. All right. Okay, so what did we do? Let's recap what we did here. We created an extended class that extended the clock because we couldn't modify. We weren't allowed to modify the original method. If we could have just modified this original class, then we could have added this additional parameter. However, we weren't allowed to, and there could be cases like that. You could have a class that's somehow like protected or just you're not allowed to modify it, and so then you can be like, well, I want a lot of these parameters, I want these methods, all these methods are already here, so I'm just going to make an extended class that'll key off of that and add some additional functionality. Maybe that original class, in the code base, if you're working in a group, maybe that class doesn't belong to you, and so you can't modify it because it's not yours. And so like, all right, I just want to extend off of this to grab some of the stuff that's already there. And so what we did is we grabbed everything from the parent as far as constructor wise. Then we created a new precision property. We created a new version of the start method, which will work even though there's already the same one on the parent already. Putting the same method on the child will work because it checks itself first. The child will check itself first before moving to the parent. So it exists on the child. All right, I'm going to run it. Cool. Don't need to go any farther. So that start method is essentially the same, except we added the ability to change the precision. And then when we did that, we were then able to pass in a template and an additional precision property. Cool. Now I do want to show you one more thing. If your brain's already breaking, don't focus too hard on this. But if you look at the solution for this task, you'll notice that they're doing something really weird in the constructor. And I just want to show you what they did. So let's just look at we'll just look at the solutions. All right. So check this out. So under the super, they have something different for the precision setting. I just want to touch briefly on what that is and what it's doing. And Rascal mentioned it earlier, but we're going to replace this real quick. with these two lines instead. I'm not saying this is better or worse. I'm just saying if you see this, you'll know what it is. And so this is essentially this is object deconstruction. And so what it's doing when you see something like this, it's basically if you see something where you see like an array or an object on the left side of the equal sign, like if you were declaring a variable, you'd say like let thing equal array or whatever, right? But if you see it like on the left side of the variable like this, essentially what that's doing is it's performing object or array deconstruction. And what that does is it takes an object or an array, it splits it apart. It takes it apart into all of its components, and it assigns each of those components in a way that you specify. And so in this case, what it's doing is it's taking, and we changed this to settings in my versions, I'm sorry. So it's taking what's being passed in through the settings parameter. So in that case, it's taking the template. So it's taking the template that gets passed in, and if there is a precision property within that template, it's setting precision equal to 1,000. Oh, did I say destruction? I'm sorry. I thought I said destructuring. I apologize if I misspoke, but yes, it is destructuring, not destruction. But yeah, destructuring. And so yeah, it's essentially when you separate an array or an object into all of its components and assign all of them to say variables, or like you can take apart an entire array and assign it to a whole list of variables, assign every value in that array to a whole list of variables if you wanted. It's kind of wild. And like I said, I'm not going to hit it very hard right now. That's not the point of this exercise. But look up array or object. I'm going to type it in chat so you can Google it if you want to. Object destructuring. Object destructuring. There we go. I think I spelled it right. Yeah. So in this case, so what it's doing, so it's taking in everything associated with the setting parameter, and in that case, it's taking in basically whatever's being passed in through the template. So this is what it's taking in. It's taking in the template and precision properties, and Rascal just shared an article there. It's taking in template and precision properties, and it's saying, all right, hey, if and split all of that apart. So split the whole template apart into its individual components, into its keys and properties, and assign the value of one if there is no value assigned to precision. So if precision is empty, if we didn't pass anything in for precision, let precision equal 1,000. So it's just another way of assigning the default value of 1,000 to that precision. So just look at that maybe on your own time. Look at that a little bit, because I think it can be useful if you want to quickly split apart an object or an array and bam, 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 rapid assign all of that, rapid assign certain characteristics to all of those items. Yeah, no, in this case, it wouldn't override the precision, but if it would provide a default value for it. Yeah. Yeah. And Rascal provided the alternative, which is longer, which is kind of like what we did originally, right? We used an if statement instead, and we said if it's empty, then give it a default value. It's just more writing, right? This is a much more compact way of doing it. Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, just going to touch on that. I just want you to be aware when you hear destructuring, or when you see it, maybe you can at least know what it is, even if you don't quite maybe know how to apply it. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's destructuring. I've seen that before. I have at least maybe an idea of what this is doing. It's blowing out an object and taking each of its individual components and doing something to them. Yeah. In most cases, like assigning them to a list of variables or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Yeah, no problem. Which editor do I recommend for Windows? I'm using VS Code. Um, I like VS Code. It's got a lot of extensions. It's pretty flexible. I mean, you can have live server, run things straight in the browser. You can run things. You can run a local console. I mean, it's got so much customization that you can do with it. It's pretty rad. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's go to. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna switch. Leon's gonna cover class extensions way more in class tomorrow, right? I think we've heard our brains enough for now. He's going to touch on this a ton more. We're going to keep talking about it. But let's go on to the push homework that is due tomorrow. Again, totally optional. But this is actual homework. It's in the follow along materials. So we're going to do a little code wars. We're going to do a little bit of code wars, and we're going to do what Leon was calling the array ladder, which is where we do array related code wars. And we're going to do an 8Q, a 7Q, a 6Q, and then back down again, 7Q, 8Q. So we're going to get a little intense there for a minute. We're going to go all the way up to 6Q, and then we're going to back it off, ease it off, and we're going to go back down to 8Q. Sound good? Gonna get a little wild, but not too crazy. Yeah, it'll be all right. We'll figure it out. Cool beans. All right. If y'all were if you know of folks that got burnt out on this part, have them come back. Have them come back for the code wars. We lost a few people there. People got a little overwhelmed, but that's all right. We're backing it off. We're going back to our old friends arrays, and we're gonna do some code wars. I only have two. Sergey, I only have two extensions going right now: Code Runner and Live Server. Those are the only two. I love how as soon as I mentioned Code Wars, we bumped right back up to 114 viewers. People tuned out there for a few minutes. That's all right. You gotta take it in stride. Do what you can, right? Don't let yourself get too overwhelmed. All right. I'm just navigating to Code Wars. Give me just one moment. All right. Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. My Twitch window pulled back up. And what does Code Runner do? Code Runner does that, what we were just looking at, where you can run things in the console. So like do console logs and stuff and see errors directly in VS Code without having to open it up in a browser. It's pretty slick. Makes it so I don't have to keep switching windows all the time. All right. I keep trying to open the wrong window. Okay. So let's do some code wars. We'll start with an 8Q, move up to 7, 6, 7, 8. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to go to practice. And we're going to do an 8Q. And we're going to search for Leon said specifically arrays, right? So we're going to search for the keyword of array. And we're not going to go by newest. We're going to go by popularity. If you're having trouble with Code Wars, I know a couple people said they were struggling with Code Wars. If you're having trouble with Code Wars, my suggestion would be to sort by either like popularity or most completed. Because those are the ones that are going to be like, they're going to have a lot of action. They're going to be, a lot of people are going to have done them. So that means that they should be pretty, you should be able to follow them, right? They're not going to be obscure or weirdly written or anything like that. Just sort by popularity, most completed. Yeah. Okay. Let's just do this one. It's the most popular one with array in the title. Okay, so given an array of integers, actually, and I'm going to create a new, file here for that. I need to save this as well. Okay, there. Given an array of integers, your solution should find the smallest integer. Given 34, 15, 88, 2, your solution will return 2. And given another sequence of numbers, your solution will return negative 345. Thank you, Rascal, for sharing the link. You can assume for the purpose of this kata that the supplied array will not be empty. Okay. So usually what I do is I copy and paste and I pop it over here just into a VS Code window. That's, of course, how you do it is up to you. But for purposes of uploading to GitHub, that's usually what I do. All right. So I'm going to train, and I've already done this one. Full disclosure, I've done all the 8 Qs, but that doesn't mean I remember it. So we're gonna train again. It's always good to do spaced repetition, right? Okay. We'll put our solution down here. There. Yeah, Rascal, and by the way, Rascal 2 is a beast. They are a Code Wars beast. So I mean, I'm in the top 100, but I can only aspire to the level of Code Wars greatness that they have achieved. So, oh, and I'm gonna fill that hydrate right now that somebody cashed in a while back. Yeah, go do it, Jim. Catch Rascal, catch Blah. All right, so we are given arrays, and essentially we need to get the smallest value of that array. So, what are some ways that I can find? What are some ways that I can, find bigger versus smaller values in arrays? What are some ways that I could potentially do that? Anybody know? Yeah, good suggestions there. We've got sort. We've got min max. Yeah, sort index 0. That's a great option. Yep. Sort math min. Yeah. Yeah. Sort and pop. Yeah, those are all great suggestions. So let's see. The class is. It's interesting they put it in a class. I don't know why, but whatever. We'll copy what they're doing. So they have a class and a method. All right. So we're gonna return something, obviously, right? So I kind of like the idea of using math.min. Math.min. All right. So obviously math.min requires something inside of it. So I'm curious, does anybody know without using sort, how can I put an array inside of math.min? Yes, the spread operator. Does anybody know what this? So I see some folks do know what the spread operator is, but let's use it. Args. Oops, I need one more dot there. Yeah. So what we're doing here, right, is we're passing in an array with the with the parameter args, right? We're passing in so this is a full array. We're passing that in, and then rather than having to like sort and then grab the first value, grab the first value at the first index, which is a perfectly valid solution, you can also do this. So you can use math.min, and then you can drop the array in there, but use the spread operator. And again, what that does is it takes whatever you put in there and it breaks it apart into its individual components. And so math.min, instead of seeing like a single array object, right, what it sees instead is a full list of numbers that it then says, oh, I can look at this list of numbers and I can find the minimum. Yeah. So this is if you're gonna remember anything, that when being able to use the spread operator with min and max is pretty powerful, right? I mean, you could take a massive array and just drop it in here and it would just work, which I think is pretty cool. So let's test this. We'll put this actually into the Code Wars window and we'll execute it. And we can see we've got some test cases. Oh, they're behind my webcam. I apologize. Make this see if I can move this over. That's still behind my webcam. But anyway, there are test cases down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And another Code Wars tip, if you are struggling with knowing what is going to be passed in, as a test case, you can always look down in the right-hand corner and look at those. Or if a question is badly written and you're struggling with understanding, wait, what is this question even like? What is this question even wanting from me? You can look down in the bottom right hand corner, which will give you not only the input, what they're inputting as test case arguments, but also the expected output. So that's a really great way for you to do tests. Because I know it can be demoralizing sometimes when you're trying to run a code war and you keep getting it wrong, right? You keep attempting it, and so you can if you're ever unsure, you can grab the test cases, inputs and outputs, and kind of have those in another window and see if you get the right answer. Yeah, exactly. Args is an array. Args is a single array object that gets passed in there, right? But we want to break that array apart into the individual numbers that are inside of the array. And so we can use the spread operator to do that. Yeah, math.min accepts a rest parameter of arguments. So it expects multiple values. So if I was writing math.min like by hand, I would say like 1, 2, 3, right? I would pass in numbers with a comma delimiter. And so if I'm passing in a whole array, I need to break that array apart so it's doing what the math.min method expects. Yeah, as for why they wrote math.min this way, yeah, I don't know why it's a class. That's just that's how it's written. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. But anywho, let's test it. All right, where's the test buttons? All the way down there in the right-hand corner. It's behind my laptop. Couldn't even see it. Hey, we passed the test. Go us. Yay for us. All right, let's attempt it as well. Woo! Yeah, we got it. Okay, there's our AQ. Let's go ahead and submit it, and we'll look at some of the other solutions that people have come up with. Maybe. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so the top solution is also using the spread operator. That's fine. They just looks like they just didn't use the spread operator. They spread it out in a different way. Oh, and here, okay, so this one uses the other solution that we talked about, right? So again, not wrong or bad, just different. And this, if I didn't know about spread, this is the solution I would have gone with. So you create a new function that's a sort function, and you sort it smallest to largest, and you just grab the first element in the array. That also gives you a perfectly valid answer. Yeah. Yeah, and sorting is more expensive, right? Because math.min already it's like that's what math.min is built for, right? It's built for finding the min value, so it's going to be more efficient. But at this point, we're not like at this point in our coding journey, we're not like super concerned with efficiency just yet. But yeah, knowing that you have multiple options is always helpful. If in this case, reduce it's not going to be. I don't think that's going to be your friend, because remember, what does reduce do? It essentially sums or performs some other sort of accumulation operation on an array. So that's really not, we're looking for the minimum value here, not necessarily the sum or other accumulation. Yeah, yeah, and you could you could write your own function to loop and keep track of it. I'm sure somebody has. Oh, reduce does work. Okay. Well, maybe somebody used it here. Let's see. Oh, hey. Yeah, all right. So let's look at how they used it, because this is fun. This is a good This is a good learning opportunity for me because I was thinking in terms of sum. But again, yeah, that's right. Reduce doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be in relation to keeping a running total. Yeah. All right. So let's look at this. So they said reduce, and they passed in the previous value, the current value, the index, and the array. In this case, they didn't need those other two parameters, but that's okay. So they check to see. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. So return previous less than current. If that's true, if previous is less than current, return previous, else current. Okay, so it's just keeping a running total of which is the smallest value. Yeah, I like it. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. Thank you for bringing it up. And then we get their name. Oif. Yeah, thank you, Oif, for bringing it up. Okay. So let's do a 7Q. Let's get a little funky here. Let's get nuts. All right. We're gonna do a 7Q. Let's go back to practice. And we're gonna do a 7Q. Let's do array. And I'm gonna sort by popularity just because those tend to be the more feasible ones. All right, so sort array by string length or flatten and sort. Well, let's do this one. We're gonna have to do two anyway, so let's do this one. Okay, funky town. Yeah, let's get funky. All right. So this is sort by length, not Haskell, JavaScript. All right. Oh, Varola, that's awesome. You working on your 100 hours project? That's rad. What are you doing, if you don't mind me asking? Or I'm sure I can always tune in. I won't be able to tune in to your stream tomorrow because I'll be at work, but I do want to tune in at some point. Go follow Varola. Okay. So we need to write a function that takes an array of strings as an argument and returns a sorted array containing the same strings ordered from shortest to longest. Okay, so if we pass in an array, essentially it looks for it sorts the words in order of length. And all of the strings in the array passed to your function will be different lengths, so you will not have to decide how to order multiple strings of the same length. Fair enough. That's good to know. Okay. Move my mug over a little bit. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. Okie doke. So, All right. Well, they're clearly telling us to do something with sort, right? So that's kind of a given. However, normally we're kind of used to sorting. We're kind of used to sorting things like by the values. Like we're given an array of values, and we're kind of used to sorting things in ascending or descending order based on values, right? So let's start by just writing out the sort function, and we'll just go from there. So we'll go ahead and train on this. And we'll grab the function that they want. At least it's not a class this time. Okay. And we will go ahead and we're going to need to return something. But okay, so let's think about how we sort an array. So array dot sort, right? And then essentially we're just have two values. So as we look through the array, we're always comparing two values, right? So that by the basic definition would just be like a comma b. We're passing in, and then we have a little arrow function. And if I wanted to sort smallest to largest, it would be a minus b, right? I think that's the right way. Because if I wanted to be largest to smallest, then it would be B minus A in the reverse. Yeah. Oh, Varrola is working on a wellness app that breaks down your long-term goals into short-term and in a more healthy way. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Best of luck. I like it. Keeping people healthy. It's rad. Could you subtract by length to sort it? Yes, you absolutely could. So, we're very used to using just this generic sort function, right? But you can sort by other things. As long as you have the items inside the function, you can perform other operations on them, right? And compare the result of those other operations. Yeah. So let's do that. Let's do length, a.length, in which case for each item, it'll get the length of it, and they're all strings, so we don't have to worry about like type weirdness or anything like that. We know they're all going to be strings. We've been told that. So we can just use length here, and we should be able to go ahead and run that. Let's try it. Sorry if this is too small. I hope you guys can see that. But it's literally, I just copied and pasted. Yeah, and you can use, and again, like most other things, you can use whatever parameter names you want. You can use A and B, you can use A and Z, you could use bacon and ham, or lettuce and carrots, apples and oranges might be a good thing. Might be a good one for sort. I don't know. Let's go ahead and run it. Hey, we got it. All right. That wasn't bad for a 7Q, but hey, I haven't attempted it yet, so I shouldn't I shouldn't speak so soon. Oh, what? First try. Yeah, we got it. See, that wasn't so bad, right? The 7Q wasn't so bad. It was using concepts we've touched on a whole bunch, right? Some of the 8Qs ain't nothing to mess with. I agree. Once you start getting to the bottom of the barrel, man, some of those 8Qs are wild. If y'all were on my my Code Wars stream a couple weeks ago, remember that shark one? God, that one killed me. There was the shark with the pontoon boat. Oh, I wouldn't have got that one without you all. Would not have got that one. Okay. So that was a 7Q. Now let's turn up the heat a little bit. Oh yeah, of course. I can go over it again, Grumble. That's no problem. Yeah. More like math Qs. Yeah. All right. So here, this one we were asked to essentially take in take in an array, I'm sorry, and sort that array by the length of the strings that are inside it. So they give us the example of this array here with telescope, glasses, eyes, monocles. And so the result then should be a sorted array with eyes, glasses, monocles, telescopes, because the words get longer as you go, right? Makes sense? Cool. No quick maths here. And so the best way, the most efficient way, or sorry, most convenient way to do that, I'm not going to say it's the most efficient, but the most convenient way to do that is to just go ahead and use the built-in sort method, right? So we already know that we can sort an array based on like the numerical values inside of it, right? We've done that a lot. But what you may not have thought about before is that you can also take each of the, if you have non-numerical values, or if you want to do something else aside from looking at straight numbers, you can perform an additional operation on each of the items that you're comparing, and then compare that result. And so in this case we said, all right, well, these are strings, so we just want to take the length, compare each two items just like we always do, but take the length of each item and compare that. And so then what we end up with is a sorted array by length from smallest to largest. Does that help fill you in, Grumbles? And we tested it and it worked, so good for us. Yeah. Lucas, yeah. Yeah. Well, let's submit this and we'll look at some of the wildness. Did somebody really do that? Did somebody really hard code every single value? What it was it this one? are they even doing? Case dog. Oh yeah, they're looking at the first. They're returning the hard-coded arrays. That's rad. Look at that. I bet they didn't pass. How did they pass the? How did they pass the test cases? Or how did they pass the random? There's a whole bunch of random cases. I don't know how they did it. Huh. That's fun. Wow. So this one is wild. They're essentially doing a map and like getting the length manually that way. That's man. Everybody's so creative. Okay. I did like even I hey, no matter how you solve it, like even if you have to cheese it, like sometimes in real life, in real coding scenarios, you're going to cheese it too. So, hey, as long as you get it done. Yeah, the randoms might not always have been there. Yeah, that makes sense. I bet they weren't there at that point. All right, let's do a 6Q. Let's do it. Built different. We're gonna turn up the heat. All right. We'll go back. No, I guess I shouldn't do that. We'll practice. I'll just go back to this. And we're gonna hit 6Qs. Okay. And again, we're gonna search for array. Now I will admit, for the 6Qs, I went ahead and looked at like the first like top two here. I haven't submitted them yet. I haven't really coded them yet. I did look at them already just to read the question and see what it was going to be throwing at me, so I wasn't completely bowled over live in front of 100 people or so. So I did look at them already, so I know the content of the question, but we're still going to have some fun, I'm sure, figuring them out. All right. Got to get that honor at all costs. Exactly, right? That's all that matters. Honor is all that matters. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and just do this one. Array.diff. Let's see. Or is it equal side? Which one was cooler? I forget. Equal sides or now let's do this one. We're gonna do now this one sounded more interesting. Yeah. We'll try it. Okay, there's a lot here, but the gist of it is that you're given an array of integers. Your job is to take that array and find an index n where the sum of the integers, I know, wall of text, yeah. Take an index n where the sum of the integers to the left of n is equal to the sum of the integers to the right of n. If there is no index that would make this happen, return -1. Okay. So essentially what that's saying is if you are given an array of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, you would expect it to go as far as the 4 and stop because the sum on the left of the 4 is equal to the sum on the right of the 4. And so we can look at this here in this example, which is what I just said. Let's say you're given the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your function will return the index of 3 because in the third position of the array, the sum of the left side of the index, 1, 2, 3, and the sum of the right side of the index, 3, 2, 1, both equal 6. And that's all it's saying. It just gives a bunch of examples like that. And if you're given an array, so a crucial note down here at the bottom, if you're given an array with multiple answers, return the lowest correct index. So that, to me, that gives a little hint saying that we should be going from left to right. So we shouldn't, at no point should we be going from right to left because that would return too high of an index potentially. So we should always be going from left to right when we're evaluating our position in the array. Yeah. All right. Let's just go for it. There's a lot to read here. I don't know. I just prefer to YOLO. Oh, and it is break time actually. So I'm gonna initialize this. Feel free to think about it, but we are gonna take a 5-minute break because we got to be healthy, right? We're gonna take a 5-minute break. We're gonna come back and we're gonna nail this one. We're gonna do it. This is the peak of the ladder. This is as high as we're going, and so we better figure it out, right? We can do it though. I believe in us. I think I have an idea of how to do it. So, but we're going to see if that actually works in practice. But feel free to think about it. We're going to take 5 minutes. And I will see you back in 5. Reset the timer. And We're going to start. Marinate the problem in your subconscious. Yes. And wait, yeah, I'm excited about this. 5 minutes can't go by too quick. I'm excited. We're gonna do a 6Q, y'all. If this is your first 6Q, code along, get that. You get more karma, you get more or whatever honor. You get more honor points for doing higher Qs. So soak up some free honor. All right, I'll see you in a minute. All right, 1 minute warning. Come on back, come on back. Everybody got the chance to get up, stretch a little bit, use the restroom if you need to, get a cup of tea. I I got a little piece of chocolate, feeling good. My shoulders pop really loud. Is it worth it to get a CS degree? I don't have one. So, I mean, I'll let you make your own judgments. Yeah, I have a college degree, but it was not in CS. Never took a CS class until this cohort. Learned everything on the job, like while I was working and making money. So, again, utility is up to you. I think in order to get a job in tech, you do not need a CS degree. However, if you want to pursue one, of course, that's up to you. If you have a passion for theory, CS theory, then absolutely go for it. Okay, so let's get a new file going here, and we're going to call it equal size of array. And we're going to grab the function that they came up with. Okay, quick poll, impromptu poll for y'all. Do y'all put your brackets, like your function brackets, down here, like flush with the left margin, or do you put them? I need to turn my webcam back on. Or do you put your brackets like after the parameter here? Where do you put your curly brackets? Anybody? This is how this person did it when they wrote the kata. I'm just curious. I'm no judgment. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of after the parameter. Yeah. His brackets make me uncomfortable. Yeah, personally, I mean, I do change them. Yeah, weird. Yeah. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. Let's think about what we might need. We don't have to come up with a working solution right away. Let's just kind of talk through it and see what elements we think we might need. And I saw a couple folks talking during the break. So saying something about, we're gonna need to kind of like, excuse me, we're gonna need to kind of like move through the array, right? Somehow. I think I saw somebody mentioning a loop. Yeah. So we're gonna need to kind of, so let's think about it. Okay, so we need a loop, right? We'll need some kind of a loop through array because we need to check each individual index and do something. Loop through array. Okay. And then at each point, what are we going to need to do? So at each index, we're going to need to essentially add up everything on the left of that index and add up everything on the right of that index and then compare the two. So, okay. So when we say like adding up array elements, for me anyway, that sounds like a reduce. Reduce left and right of each index. Reduce time. Yeah. And that's what it sounds like to me. Oh, ads waiting to get back. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're just, kind of formulating things for now. So hopefully the ads won't go too long. It's weird. I thought that you should only be seeing pre-roll like when you first join the stream. It shouldn't be giving you ads at other points. That's concerning if it is, because I thought I had those turned off. I mean, I've disabled as many ads as I possibly can. I can't turn them all the way off. Twitch won't let me, but I have disabled literally as many ads as I possibly can. Okay. I need to check that. All right, so let's think about this. What else do we need? You got a banner. I don't know if I can turn those off. I'm really just trying to turn off the ones that interrupt the stream. I don't think there's anything else I can do about the banner ads. Damn, darn you, Bezos. Yeah, exactly. That's why you should all use if you have Prime, use your Prime subscription on somebody. It doesn't have to be me. Use it on somebody just to spend Bezos's money, a fraction of his money. All right, so we need to reduce left and right of each index. But if we're reducing the left and right of each index, if that's what we decide to do, then we're going to need to like get the subset array on each side of index. Yeah, gonna need a way to split the left. Yeah, that's a better way to put it, Strain. We're gonna need a way to split the left and right to reduce each. Could we, I'm thinking maybe slice. Maybe slice. because that would allow us to essentially carve up the array into two, and specifically things slice instead of splice, because we're not trying to insert anything. All we want to do is we just want to take a chunk, because slice and splice are different. I mean, they're very similar. No, it's all good. I mix them up all the time. I think we're gonna want to try to slice. Yeah, let's try it. We'll see. All right, so well, let's just start. I think we got the basic components here. Maybe length divided by 2, maybe. But we're gonna want to be like, if we were just literally splitting it in half in the middle, I would be totally for that. But we are going to need to be moving through the array as we go. So the length is, so like the position is going to change, right? Yeah. So, okay. There's a lot of different ways we could loop through an array. And I'm also going to need some kind of a variable for equal point, like the index where it's equal. So we could say like, all right, we're passing in an array. We'll just set up like just a hold variable for the, let's say, I don't know, equal index maybe, or equal point. I don't know. And we'll just set it to empty for now. I might want it to be equal to -1, but I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, and we could do like a for loop for that. We could to loop through an array. We could essentially do, we could use a for loop. Could I do for each here? Could I for could I do this for each? Oop, hang on. For each, maybe. Let's try that. Rather than, because I mean, I could definitely do a for loop, I'm sure. That pretty much always works, but I want to use this built-in for each loop. Yeah, we got that. So, and I'm going to change this to index, because I like using index, just that helps me remember where I'm at. All right, so let's have a left side. Let's do left side equals something. Just set it equal to 0 for now, and then I'll fill that in. And we're gonna do right side equal to something. Let right side equal to something. And all right, and so we're going to need a reduce to do the sum, but before that, I think we're going to want to do it like this. I think we're going to want to do slice and dot. I know I need to fill these out. I'm just conceptualizing here. Slice and then reduce. I think we're going to need to do that, right? Because that's going to get the subset of the thing that we want, and then the reduce is gonna, like, essentially it's gonna get the slice first, gonna get the subset to the left of the index, and then the reduce is gonna do the sum, and then we'll do a comparison. So I'm gonna fill this out in a minute. I'm just building the skeleton here. All right, and then after that, we're gonna need to do essentially if left side equals right side, then what was it supposed to say? Oh, then essentially return the index. So then equal. So then what did I call it? Equal index is going to equal index, right? Equal index. Oh, that was bad naming. Equal index is going to equal the index. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then we're going to want to. Well, actually, we can just. Well, do this. I know this is a little bit more verbose than it needs to be, but that's fine. And then we'll just return equal index. That should do it, right? I think. Yeah. You think that a for loop and then using recursion if the two reduced arrays don't equal? Yeah, I suppose you could do that. All right. So yeah, we're cranberry now. We're actually gonna fill these in now. I was just kind of thinking conceptually about the larger structure, and then now I think we're ready to fill it in. So we're gonna do so we need to do array dot slice, and then let's see. Slice takes so it takes the starting point, and then it takes the ending point not inclusive, right? I think slice is not inclusive. Make this a little bigger. Um, so on the left side, it's always going to start from index of 0. So because we're working from left to right here. So yeah, so index of 0, and then the end value is going to be indexed because it's not inclusive. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. The ending value is going to be indexed because it's not inclusive, so it'll stop before we hit the index, which is what we want. Cool. And then right inside of our reduce, we're going to have again we're going to have our total counter, and then we're going to have our increment. So whatever you want to call those, don't care. I usually just call them sum and item. I write it out. I know you don't have to, but I usually just write it out. And then so sum and item, and then essentially we'll add them together. So it's just sum plus item. Yeah, so basic one. And I don't know if we need the starting value or not. I usually start with the starting value in there, and then see if removing it changes anything. What plugin do I use to open code in the browser on save? Oh, you mean like run the console, or you mean open it in the browser itself? Oh, that's live server. So down here, yeah, just in the extensions, just search for live server. Yeah. Although my obligatory Leon caution is Leon advises against using this if you're going to be going into coding interviews, just because you could, like forget to save or forget to, forget to refresh the page, like do it manually. If you're coding manually, you could forget how to actually do that and get really turned around. So just disclaimer there, if you're using live server, not saying don't do it. It's very convenient, but just be aware. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's what we need for our left side. And then for our right side, I'm just going to copy and paste this in so I don't have to type it all out again. And then we'll make some changes. Okay. For our right side, then for the slice, I think so. We start at the index value itself. No, we want to start at the right of the index, right? Index plus 1. And then we don't want to specify, we want it to go all the way to the end. So we don't specify an ending value at all, I don't think, right? I think, yeah. Okay, and then the reduce is still the same. Okay, cool. And then again, we're checking to see if left side is equal to right side. If it is, and 2, I got this is wrong. Let's fix that. And this can also be on one line. I don't even really need the brackets, but whatever. We'll leave it for now. Okay. And return equal index. Oh, and I need to not be inside of the, no. Wait. No, that's fine. I put this out here. Okay. Make sure I get things in the right place. Okay, let's try this. See if it works. All right. Can't see the test button. It's behind my laptop. All right. Index. I'm just checking this. Okay, we'll see. Okay, expected 0 to, so my initial value should not have been 0. My initial value should have been -1. Yeah. Forgot to return -1 in case. Yeah. Yep. My mistake. Okay. Oh, that's good. We made it all the way to the 1, 2, 3 to the 4th test case. It's not bad. Okay, let's see what happens. So expected -1 to equal 3. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, change this to. Is it a problem with the initial value, maybe? Yeah, might have to console log it and see. Oh, yeah. I need to. Yeah, I need to kick out of the. I need to kick out of the loop. You're right. Right. Yeah, I do need to end the loop, don't I? And yeah, let's just console log. Console log is our friend. Okay, let's console log. All right, console log index as well. So yeah, even if the loop doesn't end, it should still console log it. All right. And let's go ahead and let's just do it here in because Code Wars logging abilities are not always the best. So let's grab this and we'll just grab it out of the test cases. And run this. Okay, close that. Okay, and we'll just see what we get. Save. Okay, and Somali is suggesting that we return inside of the if statement. Okay. Let's see what we get. Okay, so it looked like it looped through the whole thing. Oh, and let's do this too. I'm going to change this to be console log. Yeah, so it's not, I'm just checking to see if it was ever hitting the true condition there. So it's not, it's just looping through the whole thing. Okay, so, I guess I need to be, yeah, I was thinking the return needs to be outside. I was thinking it needs to be outside, but oh yeah, and the index is, yeah, that's right. Rascal's right. It's not logging the index; it's logging the value. Yeah. Okay, so for each index, yeah, for each index. So yeah, that's right. It's not giving me what I expect. It's not giving me. It's checking the values, not the index. Yeah. So it needs for each doesn't take for each takes multiple can take multiple parameters. So it can take item, index, and some other stuff that I never care about, right? So let's do this. I think it's item first, then index. So that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So Rascal got it. I was misassigning the element as the index. Yeah. That should do it. Yeah. Yep. I wonder. Well, okay. Other stuff not being cared about. Yeah, who cares? Never use it in Code Wars. It doesn't matter. Okay, now let's see what we get. I know I might have to change some other stuff, but let's just run this as is for now. Hey, all right, that at least printed out the indexes. That's good. Okay, now I think the return should be outside. We're gonna, because we need to make it stop, right? So equal index. No, I don't think we need to, because we're already calling for each on it, so we don't need to actually send in the array itself. And we're gonna also I just had this in there, but console. I want to see it one more time. Console log equal index. Okay. Yay. Okay. Okay. There we go. Good. Okay. Good. It's working. Yep. All right. So we can see what it's doing here is it's logging both index and equal index, which is what I wanted to see. So it starts at 0. It's logging -1 because not found. Again, not found, and then as soon as we hit the third index, it suddenly finds it and assigns it, and there we go. We're good to go. Yeah. Okay. So this should work now. All right, because once it sets it, it's not going to set it again. So we should be able to now return equal index. Let's try this to the console. Yeah. So it looks like hopefully my only problem was just getting my parameters wrong. Okay. Test. Oop, I can't see it. Okay. We passed the test cases. Passed the initial test cases. Go us. All right. And let's attempt it. I need to make this bigger. I can't see anything. Hey, there we go. Okay. Yay! Pass the random tests. Woo! Nice. So, Jim, I think we're actually meeting that condition as expected. Because we're working from left to right. If we'd have tried to do something maybe with like reduce right, maybe, I don't even know. If we'd have tried to go like from the outside in, we might have hit a problem with that condition where they want us to always return the lowest valid index. So we're moving, since we're iterating I from lowest to highest, we're iterating from left to right. So we're always going to return the lowest possible index. Adds again, Cranberry. My goodness. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening. It did work. Yeah. I don't know why that's happening for you, Cranberry. Like I say, I've got ads disabled as much as I possibly can. Okay, yeah, let's look at this. And two, there's another thing I want to try. So we got it working. Now let's mess with it. Oh, there is a recursive solution. That's awesome, Rascal. There usually is, right? I actually did use recursion once. I don't even remember what I used it for. Like in a Code Wars, I used it successfully, and I was so proud of myself. Yeah, I didn't even need recursion. Like I get to the solution, it was something stupid, and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't need recursion, but I used it anyway. Yeah. Okay. Curious why it doesn't reassign equal index to a new index if there's another one later on that works. Yeah, so let's look. Okay, so there's another earlier question I want to answer first. Awesome. Can you explain the parameters of 0 to index in the slice method, please? Yeah, okay. So essentially what we're doing is inside of the array, we're creating a function, right? And we're passing in the item and the index that we're at. So we're looping through it. So we're hitting a new index each time. And so with slice, what it does is it takes in the starting point where you want to start your slice, and then it takes in an ending point, but that ending point is not inclusive. So if we pass in like slice 0 to 3, it's going to grab the element at index 0, at index 1, and at index 2, but it's not going to grab the item at index 3. It's going to stop before then. And so that's our left slice, right? So if I'm looping through my array and I'm at index 3, I want to look at everything to the left of what's in index 3 and everything to the right. So that slice is going to grab everything to the left of index 3. And then for the right side, essentially what we want to do is we want to start to the right of where we currently are. That's where we want our slice to start. And then essentially we want to keep going for for the entire rest of the array. So we didn't put any end condition. We only put a starting condition. So that's going to say, all right, you just want everything else past this index. So that's why we did that. Okay. So the question was, I'm curious why it doesn't reassign equal index to a new index if there's another one later on that works. Let's see. Well, why isn't that happening? Let's see if I wonder if there's an example of that. Like if there's one we could, there's one we could test and just see. Because I would think in the random testing that would have caught it. Left side equals right side. An array of all zeros. Yeah, I mean that would. Or we could do like let's see, would be a good one. That'd be the easy. Yeah, let's try that. Or I wonder if there's we could do zeros. It's fine. All right, this should be interesting. Oh, I'm still console logging the index. Sorry. Let's do this. Let's console log. I'm going to console log equal index. Equal index. Okay. Now let's try that again. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so in this case, it looped all the way to the end. Yeah. So in this case, yeah, I mean it did. It just kept reassigning it. So let's do this. Let's do let's console log equal index then. It'd be weird that I would get lucky that many times, but I can see your point. I can see I see where you're coming from. Oh, not alert, console log. But I do see where you're coming from. We'll console log equal index up here so we can watch it loop, and then we'll log the end value. Yeah, okay, so it looped through there. Now let's check something else here. There's got to be another example. I think in the instructions there was actually one like that. So I want to try one that's more like realistic. You assume the correct solution calculates the answer using the first index, so they provide the information to ensure. I don't know. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's see what some other people did. Let's see what some other people did, and then I mean, maybe I just got lucky. That's valid. But yeah, let's see. I'll make this a little bigger so you can actually see it. Okay. So they did a reduce here as well. What's your code word? What's my code words username? You want to run it through your own sanity? That's totally fine. My code wars username, as expected, is Mayan Wolf, so you should be able to find me. And I got my picture up there as well from my GitHub. So I was pretty sad I had to get rid of my avatar. I really liked my avatar with Pidge. But Leon said that we have to have our actual face on everything now. So I had to put my friggin' face up there instead of Pidge. Oh, is there somebody? Did somebody review it and say that you can cheese it? I could get a pigeon tattoo on my face. That's a little extreme, but you do you. Yeah, this is probably the safer way to do it. To return, yeah, do the return as soon as they're equal. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna click on this review that Rascal sent. I'm curious. Oh, that's mine. Oh, I thought it was. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that yeah, I should have the return in the actual statement. Okay. Well, I guess maybe I just got lucky. Maybe I cheesed it. Maybe I got lucky. Let me know what you find out, Jim. Okay. Anyway, we still got 2 more to do though. Let's keep powering through. Can always come back at this one. All right. So now we get to go back down to 7 Qs. Comfort zone. All right, Snarfin. Thanks for stopping in. Always good to see you. All right, let's do an array one. Adding arrays. Oh, golly. Oh, sorry. I want to rewind for just a second. There's the other one that was on the other 6Q we were looking at. There was something I wanted to try. There were 2 6Qs we were trying to decide between. I think it was a 6Q, and I saw it and I was like, I want to try something. So forgive me. One moment. We're gonna YOLO. I found something cool and I just want to try it. Was it this one or was it the 7Q? I saw it and I was like, I gotta try this. Was it this one? No, that's boring. That's a sort, or that's a filter. Hang on, I have some notes. No, it wasn't that one. 2 seconds. There was a cool thing that I wanted to try. Oh, it was called flatten. Flatten and sort. I'm just gonna look for it. I don't even remember what level it was. Oh, it must have been a 7Q. All right, that's cool. Perfect. Let's do 7Q. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, that's the most popular one in 7Q. Okay. I was looking right at it. I thought it was a 6Q for some reason. I guess I was overestimating my abilities there. I just remember reading this one and being like, oh, there's a thing I saw and I wanted to try it. Perfect. Cool. Thanks. All right, let's try it. Like I said, I haven't done this one yet, but there's a thing that I wanted to try. So, all right. Flatten and sort. Okay, let's do it. Why is that window so small? There we go. Okay. All right, so we're given a two-dimensional array of integers. We want to return the flattened version of the array with all the integers in the sorted ascending order. Given, so this is, they're essentially what they're giving us is a nested array, right? They're giving us a nested array, like also with like an empty value here. So that's hard to see, but I'll paste it in here so you can see it a little better. Yeah, so that's what they're giving us. And the function should return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So please keep in mind that JavaScript is by default sorting objects alphabetically. Well, we already know our way around that. Jim says, well, for what it's worth, both my wolves and my solutions work even though we return different indices. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Darn them flaky tests, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's yeah. Hey, I might be nuts too. It's the way she goes. Yep. I was just saying the last time. I don't even know if any of you are real, right? Like, I talk to my coworkers virtually all day. I talk to you guys virtually all day. You know, on every stream. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you're all bots at this point. I don't speak to any humans anymore. Okay. So essentially, they give us this, and what they expect back is a sorted array with no empty buckets. You know, like getting rid of this kind of thing. No empty buckets and sorted in the proper order. So I was thinking about this one earlier, and I think I found something cool, and we'll try it. It may not work. I don't know. Worth a try. Yeah, and then we'll definitely be using the sort method. That's absolutely right. So what we're going to do is we also we're going to need to loop through the array, because remember, this is a nested array, so we can't just do sort, with because we essentially what we want to do is we want to go into the larger array, right? The larger the bucket array, and then we're going to need to go into each of the smaller items first and sort them, and then right, and then essentially return the larger sorted one. So as far the end merge is what I was thinking about, and where I wanted to try something. We'll see if it works. Do it the hard way first and the easy way. All right, so we'll grab the function here, and we'll see. And actually, I'm thinking about this. We may need to do the merge first and then the sort, right? Yeah, because I think. Oh, we can't use flat. I wanted to try flat. Man, that was what I wanted to try. I just discovered flat and I really wanted to try it. Let's do it in VS Code, and then if it doesn't work in Code Wars, then Code Wars is lame. But let's just try it, and just for my own gratification. All right. So what flat does is it essentially takes an array that's nested and it brings everything up to the same level. So if you got let's just do it. We'll just try it out. Oh, you've done a solution in Code Wars with flat before. Good, because I really want to use it. So all right. So let's start out with just do a console log. I know I still need to sort it, but I just want to show you guys what flat does. Array dot flat. And I think if I just leave it blank, it should just go down to a depth of 1 by default. So let's try it. Array dot flat. Save that, and I'm just going to pass in, and I'm going to pass in. Let's see. Now I'm just going to call it. Oops, sorry. I'm going to just call the function on this bad boy here. See what we get. Move this down so it's easy to read. 2 seconds. All right. And we're going to do flatten and sort on this guy. Oh, good. Thanks, Strain. Thank you for blazing a trail there, Strain. Good. I'm glad it works. That's weird that some things work and some things the Code Wars is just like, I don't know what that is. It's so weird. Okay. Hey, okay, so look at that. Look what happened. It looks a little weird in Code Runner. I did try using flat like in the browser just to make sure I wasn't doing it wrong. It just Code Runner just displays arrays weirdly. It looks fine in the browser. It looks like a normal array. So I'm going to assume it's a normal array, but I don't know. I might be wrong. So look what that did. So it essentially took away the nesting. It took out all the nesting and it at the first level down, and it brought everything up to the main level, and it also got rid of that empty array. It just completely just disregarded it. And so now we've just got a lovely, nice flat array that we should be able to sort. So I think I was thinking of things in the wrong order, but I think we're going to need to. Oh, it's an older. This cod is too old to use it. I still want to do it anyway in my test version here in VS Code. It's lame though. Okay. So array.flat, then we should be able to chain that with sort, right? So just do array.sort, chain that together, and then just do the classic a comma b. Oops. Sort a comma b, and then arrow function. Oops, not a plus sign. I can't type anymore. Function, and then a minus b for smallest to largest. Let's try that. The console log that. I just never heard of flat before, and I just really wanted to use it. Okay, clear that. Hey, it works. Why would you want to go to Rascal? Out of curiosity, why would you want to potentially, like in a code war, why would you want to go to an older version of Node or JavaScript? Just for funsies, or so concat? Okay. So if I do, let's see, I forget that what. I'm just gonna look up concat real quick. I forget how to exactly to write it. Great. I've obviously looked it up before. some native features change, intervals, limits, etc. Oh, okay, fair. Yeah, okay. So it'd be like you have to loop through and concat the items together, right? Um, yeah. Oh, can you do spread? Oh, fun. Stack Overflow sometimes comes through. So this is a level 1 nested array, right? And so we can just do that. So, okay, cool. So apply is identical to manually concatenating everything. Oh, rad. All right, let's try that. Go old school. Oh yeah, we can use spread. All right, so would it be like, I'm just gonna grab this. We'll modify it. Yeah, I was thinking spread would be good. Wonder, I was thinking it was gonna use spread, but everybody in here seems to be using old school type solutions. Since use, yeah, okay, arrays.reduce flatten array. Okay. Yeah, here. Let's try to use concat still. All right, so var merged array concat. So instead of apply, would it just be like spread array? Gotta like look at the dates of those answers sometimes. Yeah, so it'd be like concat and then let's see, I need to look back at the syntax again. Sorry. Let's put this here. Yeah, so okay, so what I put so essentially it would just be like dot 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 array. That be it? No. I'm assuming the party hat means yes. I don't know. Okay, so in that case, then, so we can't use flat. So we need to do like concat, and then, so essentially replace flat with concat, right? Hmm. Do we need the reduce? Let's see. Array concat. Or would it just be concat? Well, still need a concat on the empty array. Oh, okay. So it would be like this then, huh? Like that? Maybe. Let's try it. Yeah, it is weird looking. Okay. Well, I'm learning something right now. I just wanted to use flat. That's all right. Still got to know the older stuff too. Okay. Hey, what do you know? We didn't even have to use reduce. That's rad. Okay, okay, hang on. All right, let's try it. Yeah, I was thinking somebody was saying reduce and concat, and I wasn't quite sure how that applied, but all right. No, sorry, this isn't adding arrays. This is flatten and sort an array. I wanted to do this one specifically because I really wanted to use flat. Yeah. Yeah, because the spread should have reduced it. Yeah, the spread should have, you know, spread it apart. I think, and then we're spreading it apart, and then we're reconcating or reforming it into a sort of a new array at ground level, right? No nesting, and then we're sorting it as before, theoretically. So yeah, I think I get what's happening, which is good. And let's see, I'm just going to grab the interior of this, and then we'll return. And get rid of the console log. And we'll set array. Let's do that for now. And also too, just to be pedantic, I'm going to do this. All right. Woo! All right, that's rad. Good to know that it's good to explore those alternate ways of doing things, because yeah, you're not always going to be in environments where the newest thing is going to work. What I encounter a lot is yeah, still works. Awesome. Thanks, Rascal. And others who suggested alternatives as well. Yeah, what I've encountered in the past is sometimes like you can get used to using the most modern tool or the most modern code for something, but then there's some other piece of software, there's some other thing that you need to interface with or maybe send code to and from, right? Like a piece of usually it's a piece of enterprise software that hasn't been updated in 20 years, and they can't update it because it'll break everything else. So they have to keep it on this old outdated version that's no longer supported, that uses code that doesn't take any of the modern syntax, or you have to use it, you have to like convert everything into a version of code that's old on purpose just to interface with this older piece of software, which is something I've encountered more than once. And so it's good. It's still good to know the old ways, which is again maybe another use case for being able to switch back to older versions of JavaScript or Node. Um, yeah, it sucks, but that's the breaks when you're working for a big company. They're going to have that one piece of software that's too big to fail and too old to update because it's out of service. So no longer supported, but they use it anyway. I don't know if any of you all have encountered that. Hey, and that's the top solution too. That's awesome. Yeah, and hey, the next one was a reduce. So like y'all were saying, um, yeah. So and using the spread operator there, so reduce, and yeah, so it's just spreading those out. Oh man, Rascal getting wild up in there. Rascal has links to everything. I swear. Oh my gosh. What? It's like it's manually building flat, isn't it? It's using the prototype. Yeah, arrays. Yeah, they're building flat. That's awesome. Okay. So backported flat. Yeah, exactly. Get that prototype. All right. So the last thing we need to do, we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute. We just need to do one more 8Q and we'll be done. We'll have done the array ladder. So if you've been following along, you'll have done the push work for tomorrow. Go you. Okay. Get back to the search page. Yeah. All right. We'll sort it by search some random polyfill and was like copy and paste. Yeah. All right. We'll search by array and we'll sort by popularity again. Um, let's do this. So I'm going to skip the first one just because find the smallest integer in an array. I think we can do that. This one looks more interesting. Let's do the convert number to reversed array of digits. Let's do that. All right. Given a random non-negative number, you have to return the digits of the Given a random non-negative number, you have to return the digits of this number within an array in reverse order. Okay. Yeah, this would be fun. I think I've done this one before, but I don't remember it, so that's always nice. All right. So, get a new file going here. Let's see. Number to reverse array. Alrighty. Okay, and I think I forgot to copy and paste the text last time. That's all right. I'll fix it later. Try to keep a standard format for my code wars. All right. The function is called Digitize. And we are going to be, yeah, so we're going to be reversing it. And then essentially, so I'm thinking this is going to be more about string, like string operations rather than, like strictly array operations. But I'm thinking, yeah. yeah, I'm thinking. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll do well here. So I'm thinking we'll convert the number to a string and then just basically do a bunch of string stuff on it. I don't know. I think that's probably the best way. All right, so let's try that. So, well, I'm not sure it's the best way, but I'm thinking I just had to Google real quick in my other window. I just had to Google and make sure. I was like, yeah, no, reverse is a string operation, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I just that was me Googling the other window frantically because I sometimes I'll forget if something is a string, like a string operation or an array thing. But in this case, I think we're going to do it string wise. All right, so let's do. This should be a one liner, but we'll see. All right, so we're passing in n, and we're going to go to string. Is it two string parenthesis? I think and two string, and then I think we should just be able to split, and we'll split on nothing. We're going to split on just nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing to split on, and then we'll just reverse and reverse. Verse has parentheses, I think. Yeah. Split, reverse, and then that. Will that do it? Let's try that. I don't know if that's going to give me exactly what I want yet, but called Digitize, and we'll grab one of the test cases. Can wrap the whole thing. Yeah, I could pass it in as a string, right? Okay, let's try that. Oh, I'm going to need to console log it, not return. Doop. Or I could just console log the thingy, but whatever. All right. Nope. Okay, so I need to convert the individual items. What? String stuff dot to string or for gold golf. Oh, cold stuff. Oh yeah, get it turn it into a template literal. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's not going to be reverse or it's not going to be like numerical order. It'll just be taking in whatever they give you, and I think just taking in whatever they give you. It looks like then, and then just straight up reversing it and turning it into an array. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is just turn that string back into numbers. So that'll have to be done. That'll have to be a loop. So probably do a map as you. Yeah, so I don't have to do a full. I can just map it to number, can I? Can I just do this? I think I've done this before. That'll work. Do I have to do number like this, or is it just number? I don't remember. Oh, and I in parentheses. All right, let's try it. Hey, that did it. Yeah, looks like it just flipped it back to number. I was like, I think I looked that up before, and I was remembering that. I think it's just because I was like, what? It's like that simple, like for real? You don't need any fancy things. It's just map number. I think I've looked that up like 3 or 4 times actually, because each time I forget how simple it is. I'm glad I remembered it this time. Some other suggestions here. Well, we won't need the join because what they want is an array in the end. So if we need it back as a string, yeah, we'd definitely use join. Array dot from. So like instead of the to string dot split. Okay, well let's try this. We can look at the alternatives as well. So we'll change this to, we got to change that to a return as well. Okay. We'll test it. Hey, that worked anyway. Attempt it. Hey, it worked. But yeah, let's look at some of the alternatives and see if anybody used that. I'm sure somebody else has used the array as well, like to array. Okay, so variations on map, reverse. Oh, here we go. Array.from. Yeah, array.from. Here we go. Okay, so array.from. Let's try that. I'm just going to grab this and pop it in. Okay, so array.from and okay, so then okay, so it's doing the string conversion. It's doing the string conversion of n right here. And then okay. So what are the oh, that's wild. Huh. Yeah, so it's doing the string, it's performing the string operation, and then it's returning a number. That's rad. Okay, let's do it. Well, so it looks like what this is doing is it's a little hard. This is a little hard to read, but it's just so it's taking in. So n is going in, being converted to a string, and then what spits out is an array of numbers. So okay, all right. So the second parameter to array.from is basically a map. Okay, so it's basically the map callback function. So it's just streamlining. It's streamlining that map number, and it's just sort of like implied. It's like, all right, the second parameter in this array.from is a map, and it's just so all we need to do is pass in number, and it just maps the result back to number. So we can perform the string operation, and then map the result back to number on the resulting array. It's rad. Oh, hey, Alice, welcome. I'm glad the eloquent JavaScript stream helped you out. That's a beast, isn't it? We're just about to wrap up here, but if you missed most of the stream, you can always catch the VOD on my Twitch channel. Okay, let's run this real quick, just to test it out. I'm expecting the same result. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Baller. Okay. All right. Well, I think that does it. We did that was the array ladder. We did it. We went all the way from 8Q, 7Q, 6Q, and then back down through 7Q and 8Q. So good for us. Go us. All right. And still 100 viewers hanging on. Wow. Y'all are persistent. I'm proud of you. Okay. So did anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and set up a raid. And I'm actually going to start setting up the raid while y'all are thinking up any questions. I'm not going to trigger it just yet, but it does take me a minute to get it going. So we got to find someone to raid as well. So I'll need your input there. Okay. Raid somebody. All right. Anybody have any suggestions on someone to raid? They have to be, rules are, they have to be at least reasonably safe for work, and preferably related to coding in some way. Hey, good night, coffee. Thanks for tuning in. So we got a couple folks that we've rated before, or a couple folks that Leon has rated before. We've got Coder Girl, I really like. Let's maybe do Coder Girl Chan. They're fun. Let's go ahead and raid them. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the raid. Looks like they're playing Stardew Valley, so they're fun. We're gonna raid them. I'm gonna start the raid. Takes a minute to get going. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll see you all again on Sunday. And don't forget to don't forget to tune in to Verola Fox's stream on Friday. And I believe they're streaming at 11 a.m. Eastern. So check them out. Absolutely. All right. Looks like we are ready to raid. All right. See you soon. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Mindwolf on Twitter. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.